Hey everyone, it's Michael from Notefolds, and today I've got this 3D snowman to show you. And he's kind of looking down from the top. Imagine you're looking down on this snowman, and you can see he's got a lot of dimension to him. Pretty easy to make, and I'm going to show you how. Plus, I want to show you a technique that I have of just embossing the inside of the card for an added surprise. Let's go ahead and get started. To start with this card, we're going to use the standard card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5 in white. I'm going to have a background piece of paper for the front of the card, and that is 5.5 by 4.25. For a snowman, we need 3 circles, and these are 2 3/4 inch in diameter, 2 1/4 inch in diameter, and 1 3/4 inch in diameter. Just for something a little different, before I fold this card over for the front, I'm going to run it through my Big Shot with an embossing folder. That way I have a nice embossed image on the inside of the card. And here's the card after I ran it through the embossing folder in the Big Shot. And notice that the raised part of the card is actually on the inside. So then we're just going to fold it over like we would for any other card. And this part on the outside is actually going to be covered by our designer paper. I'm going to tape the designer paper down now. Just turn it over, get some tape runner on it. And since this paper is the exact dimensions of the front of the card, it's important that we get all of the corners properly lined up. So there we go, we can see that paper is covering the entire front, but when they open up there is another design on the inside. To make this snowman look three-dimensional, I'm going to dauber around the edges of each one of my circles, and I'm just going to use some of this pigment ink here. And you can see I'm using a cotton ball instead of a dauber because I want the edges to be a little bit more fuzzy to kind of reflect that how a snowball for a snowman is. Okay, so there is one of my pieces daubered. Might be a little bit hard to see, but I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the circles. And here are all 3 of my circles daubered around the edges. I'll take the card now and my largest circle, turn it over so that the daubered side is down, and we're just going to add some dimensionals to the circle. And then we'll place that down sort of toward the bottom so that we still have enough room along the top for a sentiment. Before we put down the second circle, we're just going to put the card to the side, and I cut out a couple of arms out of just some brown paper, and they don't have to be exact, you can just kind of feel it out. Take your daubered circle, turn it so the daubered side is down, and then we're just going to tape the arms onto the back. And I'm just going to use Scotch tape because no one is going to see this part of the card. And so we'll just put one arm on each side of the snowman. You can kind of play around with the angle however you want it to go. So now that those are down, we'll again place some dimensionals all the way around. Bring the card back in, and we're just going to place the body right on top so that we have our arms sticking out. Before we put down our last circle, I've cut a couple of pieces of ribbon here. We're going to turn it so the daubered side is down again. Put this to the side. And we're just going to turn the ribbons over. This is going to be his scarf. So you can just kind of line that up on the other side, maybe check it, see how you like it. If it looks good to you, I'm just going to use some Scotch tape again. And before I put on my dimensionals, I'm going to turn it over and make sure that my ribbon is a good length for his scarf, and I think that looks alright. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some dimensionals. Okay, and let's just center the head right on top of our stack. There you can see his scarf is coming down. Now what we need to do is attach the eyes. So I've zoomed in a little bit on this snowman so that you can see what we're about to do here. And we need to put down the eyes of the snowman. But we want to make sure that we're not centering them because we want it to look like we're looking down on the snowman. So you're really going to place the eyes closer to the bottom of the circle. And you can use a pair of tweezers to help you accomplish that. So there's one of my eyes. And there is another eye. And then we need to do a mouth. Okay, so there's his smile. And then I've cut this very small piece of orange paper for the nose. And I've got my glue pen here. Just put a little bit of glue on there. And his nose is actually going to come down over top of the mouth. And there we go. And here's the finished card after I just added a banner there with a sentiment, and then on the inside a nice little greeting, Merry Christmas from one flag to another. Then you can see we've got that really nice embossed texture on the inside. Well, that's the card, and I hope you enjoyed making it with me today, and I'd love to see anything you come up with, so post in the comments below. We'll see you next time.